Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're just going to do a quick one. The Alchemy Metagame Challenge is up this weekend. Basically a in-client tournament where you could win a bunch of packs depending on how you do. Alchemy is the kind of the ugly child in the room, the not so popular format, but it's actually pretty fun. Economy things aside, I got to Mythic this month with the Esper deck that's been going around. So I just want to highlight some decks that have been performing pretty well across various medians for the Alchemy ladder stuff. If you want to take it, try to win some packs, play the format, you definitely can. So we'll just jump into it. We do weekly meta breakdowns for all the other formats on the Arena ladder. So you can check those out in the video description if you're interested in Standard, Explorer, Historic, whatever it may be. So we'll just jump into it, like I said. So we're getting some data from both Untapped GG as well as MTG Arena Zone. Untapped is the in-game client or the in-game companion tool that tracks your win rates, loss rates, aggregates a whole bunch of collection data, stuff like that. The links in the video description if you want to get started with that for free. And Arena Zone is a very helpful site as well. Kind of more crowdsourcing information. They have articles, stuff like that. But like whenever I hit Mythic for the first time, I'll tag them and it kind of sees like what are the top individual decks, where Untapped is more of a unbiased aggregate in terms of, you know, it's not just one person, it's a collective. So according to Untapped, this deck's obscene win rate, 80%. This is Rakdos Midrange. Rakdos is kind of the defining deck, and black cards are kind of the best cards in Alchemy. And that's kind of chained around Citystalker Connoisseur, which creates discard. You have Fable, the Mirror Breaker with Citystalker that could create a lock. Your opponent discards cards every turn. Invoke Despair is your top end. Trespasser for graveyard hate. Undercity Plunder to attack their hand. Get a bunch of cards from them. Painful Bond for card advantage. Molten Impact. 2-for-1 removal spell that plays really nice. So it's really just a grind them out style deck. As mentioned, I will put these all these deck lists, I'll post them in the video description as well if you want to pull those in. Sideboard, you just got a whole bunch of removal, kind of extra discard when needed. The Cosmos Elixirs come in, so whenever you're usually playing against these kind of black X grind decks, the Elixir just helps grind value, get you card advantage. Orvar comes in, you're like, but I'm a Rakdos deck, why do I have a blue card in my sideboard? Orvar, for any of the discard effects, you can just get to copy their stuff, so it typically comes in those matchups there. So this is kind of the only deck from Untapped that actually has played enough games to really generate any statistics since the new set came out. It's pretty much dominating. So I'm going to show you a couple decks. So this is what I got Mythic with in best of 3, 14 and 4. It's just a take on Croaky's list. It's an Esper deck with some of the new Connive cards. You have Diviner of Fates, which plays really nice with Raffine. So Raffine, usually the issue is you're not really accruing card advantage. You're just churning through cards. But Diviner lets you the first card you discard each turn. You get to pull from your deck one of the cards with the same type. So if you discard an instant first, you get an instant into your hand. Notably, if you're selecting multiples, what you want to do is the card type that you want first, the card type that you want to trigger the ability has to be the first one that you click. And then you select, say, 3, so you click the first one and then the next 2. There's like a bunch of removal in this deck. Vanishing Verses, you have Plunders, Meathook, Skyclave, Wandering Emperor as well. You're also playing Herald of Vengeance, which can be a one-sided board wipe. So I did a switch. I was playing one Liaisa main over the 4th Herald. That helped me out a bit there. And then really in the sideboard is where I made my changes. I found like I was finding in my mirrors with these like grind decks, and like I'm 3-0 versus Rakdos, I was bringing out the kind of discard package. And what I was doing is I was getting rid of Citystalker, I was getting rid of Undercity Plunder, so I didn't play into the opponent's discard style effects. And that way it let me kind of play a little bit smoother. So kind of raise, just catch all. I went with just more general removal, another Meathook, reverses. And then I was using Kaido for more card advantage, and I was playing 2 Cosmos Elixirs. This card just carried in so many games. It's probably your best card in a lot of grindier matchups. The hardest thing is So I lost to Angels a couple times with counter spells, and I lost twice to Jund land destruction decks. Just random things to blow up lands, and the 4-mana dragon that targets a land and pings you damage. So kind of got destroyed on that side, but otherwise we bet up on the decks we should have. Kind of grinded through that. There's also Runes. So this is a deck. I played this one in the Mythic Invitational qualifier for the Alchemy event. I went 3-3 in that tournament, but I played it heavily in best of 1, where I had like a 70+ win % rate. The MIQ is a lot harder. Just you're playing best of 3, you're playing against really good opponents. But this is kind of just a take on the standard Runes deck, with some copies of Hallowed Haunting in here as well. You get a slightly better mana base. With Forsaken Crossroads, I'd honestly just change it to the Tri-line now, since that's available. And the sideboard was really just options for like the sacrifice decks, the grindier decks where there's a lot of removal, just having the wedding announcements, Catilda versus aggro, and then just a couple of kind of removal spells, protection spells. Curse of Silence was for decks that would be playing like Invoke Despair or Farewell. Just things that you knew you wanted to kind of tax your opponent. This deck does very poorly against Farewell and heavily exile-based removal. So like I said, with Arena Zone, I'll link this general site. You can see a bunch of different deck lists that they have in terms of suggestions. A couple I want to point out. So there's a infinite combo. It's the Grinning and the Ingus combo. This was a Croaky's list, but kind of the combination is with Racketeer Boss. It lets you have 2 creatures in your hand. When they enter the battlefield, they create treasures. So if you choose Grinning Ingus, it now can infinitely come into the battlefield and then go back to hand, generating the mana to be recast infinite times. And you can do that basically with, there's kind of 2 kill combos. So either Witty Roastmaster would allow you to ping your opponent to death, or you can get each treasure token triggers Dragon Spark Reactor, generate enough mana, and then just ping them out. The rest of the deck is just about finding your combo pieces and kind of protecting your combo. This is a best of 1 deck, but you could kind of tailor it if you'd like to best of 3. You have the Grizzled Huntmaster package to find you combo pieces as well. But you can easily build this into a best of 3 deck. There's also Mono Green Stompy. This deck's also very good. You're built around Forceful Cultivator. So you'll see with the deck, it's only showing 14 lands, but you're playing pretty much all the like MDFC cards. So these lands don't count as lands for Forceful Cultivator. So your best turns are like turn 1, send in Pack Leader, Tenacious Pup. Turn 2, you play Forceful Cultivator with the cost reduction, and then you get to search for another land. So you kind of go like 1, 2, 4. In terms of mana, a lot easy to trigger this ability. Then you have Jukai Liberator, which lets you reset your Forceful Cultivators or like your Tenacious Pups, and then gets you some card advantage as well. Sideboard's really just kind of Artifact Enchantment hate, Graveyard hate, that with haste, kind of big creatures, fight spells, and then protection spells. So like I said, really quick one, just a couple decks you might be interested in playing for this event. If you do play it and you're doing well with something that's not exactly this, let me know. There's also like brushstroke decks, like Rakdos Sack decks. If you're interested in that, you can check out on Arena Zone. I think they highlight some here as well, Rakdos Sacrifice, but you can take a look here. They have some white aggro decks, stuff like that. But just want to kind of pull together some of this. I like the Esper deck. I've played the mono green deck a lot. It just really depends on how much you want to grind and how much you want to stomp face. In any case, catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one.